So hi, a question from Maria. Is it still worth buying to rent now with all these terrible rules coming out? Quite frankly, I think it is getting harder and harder because um, I guess the rules coming out are overprotecting, I guess, one side now. I think it's becoming harder and harder for landlords to get involved or for new people to come in because, as you say, the rules are becoming terrible. Maybe not that far out, but certainly if you haven't got your processes in place, you haven't got your understanding of the rules in place, I think that's also very important. If you don't know what the new rules, for example, I mean, there's some stuff that's been around forever that people have to adhere to, but there are some new stuff that have been introduced. One of the ones that I'm particularly concerned, it's not law yet, but the proposal that if there is a Section 8, which is when people don't pay and you take them to court, which is what the new reliance will be based on once Section 21 goes away in 2025. I think Section 8, if that doesn't work out for people, then the challenge is when you go to court. Right now, if you've got 2 months of uh, unpaid rent, you can take them to court under Section 8 and actually get them to um, get the judge to rule against them and try to get them to vacate your property. The proposal is now in the future it might be that Section 8 can be extended, so the tenant turns up to court, owes you, let's say, 2 months rent, £2,000, and apparently they are trying to propose that if the tenant starts to pay a little bit towards that £2,000, they can extend the Section 8 notice further again. So instead of 2 months, you get another 2 months, for example. It's not, don't panic, it's not definitely law yet, but this is what we're trying to work with through the NRLA to basically work through them to educate the Ministry of the Housing Minister and that team that this is going to kill off a lot of the rental sector here because it's really going to be detrimental to landlords because nobody can afford 2 months of non-payment, let alone any more than that. So, but is it still worth investing in properties? I guess my answer is always going to be a default yes, because you've got to understand the asset that you're buying is going to keep accruing in value first. You're going to negate the impact of inflation second, and the third, you are going to get passive income. As long as you're buying the right property at the right price, you do the right works to it, you get the right tenant in it, and you charge the right amount of money in it for it, you will still carve out a margin, and that margin can be a decent amount for your profit if you get across a number of properties. And this is why title splitting for me just works so much better now because you're not buying one buy to, I mean, to be fair, to be clear, one buy to let just does not work anymore. It really kills any idea that somebody thinks they can buy one house and be okay with it is just ludicrous, let alone the fact that you're not going to make any money. The amount of money you end up leaving is going to be a lot, and more importantly, what happens is you will end up not accruing any wealth. Whereas title splitting, buying blocks of flats, and actually then taking your money out to reuse again is really the main one that people should be focused on, and that's why I've been able to accrue enough property then to be able to then have a lifestyle that um, I like or I enjoy. So I think my summary will be: look, don't be scared of it. Embrace it when everybody else is running away from something. It's usually when I'm going to go in and actually do more of it, and that happens in any investment. So when the crowd is leaving, I am going in. So I think that's exactly the period of time where we find ourselves now. Lots of people are leaving, moving out, or exiting. That's the crowd, that's the herd, and that's the herd mentality that we all suffer from. But if you can come into it with the right mindset, with the right structure, with the right property strategy, so if you're doing this blocks of flat stuff and building your income in that way, then I think it's still a good industry or a good investment to come into for.